Hello everyone, my name is Mandilynn. I'm the author of the young adult novel Essence and historical fantasy novel I Am Mercy, and today I am here to check and see how you're doing with NaNoWriMo. So odds are, if you're still participating in NaNoWriMo, you may be beginning to fall behind a little bit because it's getting towards the end of the month, and let's face it, it's not easy to write 50,000 words in 1 month, so you may be behind by a few thousand words. So today I want to sit back and talk about some of my favorite tips to getting more writing done every day, and these tips are tips that you can apply to NaNoWriMo or just writing in general. My first tip is to find your most productive writing time. If you are a morning person, then you may benefit from waking up just an hour earlier to get your writing done first thing in the morning before your day starts. If you're a night person, then you have to make sure you set the time aside every day to get your writing done as well. Whatever you do, you want to try and make a habit of it. Once you form a habit of writing during the same time every day, you won't have to think about it as much anymore. Figure out what bad habits are distracting you. For myself, I find that I spend a little bit too much time every day just looking at videos on Facebook on my phone. With that said, I use that knowledge and, when I go into writing mode, I put my phone on the other side of the room and write somewhere else so I'm not even tempted to look at it. Find a dedicated writing spot. So like starting a habit, you want to make it a habit to write in the same spot every day, because when you sit down at that spot, you know, okay, it's time to write. You won't be tempted to do anything else because you know this is where you're supposed to sit down and get things accomplished. This does not work for everyone. Sometimes it may be more beneficial to find a new location. Sometimes new locations spark more inspiration. That's why you see a lot of writers in coffee shops sometimes. Write down your goals. There have been countless researches and stuff like that that say that you are more likely to accomplish a goal if you write it down. With that said, you should be writing down your word count goal every day. I like to write down my goals in my planner. When I sit down to write, I write down how many words I want to get done. If I accomplished it, I get to check it off. If I didn't accomplish it, then I don't get to check it off. Read what you wrote the day before. Even if you were just writing yesterday, you may think that you'll still kind of remember what you wrote, but there's no way to fully remember, and it's best to just read what you wrote the day before, because then you get into the writing mode again and you get back into the shoes of your story. Write a quick summary. So when you sit down to write that day, even if you have an outline, you should also sit down and write a quick paragraph of what scenes you're going to be writing that day. That way when it comes to actually writing, you won't be struggling to think of what you want to write. So say you want to write an action scene. Sit down before you start writing the actual chapter. Sit down and write a little brief overview of the chapter. Why did that character get agitated? What kind of fight was it? Who ended up winning the fight? Who ended up losing? What kind of injuries were there? That's the type of things you want to write. Really brief overview stuff to get your creative juices flowing. Try the 10-minute rule. If you really don't feel like writing that day, promise yourself you're gonna do it for at least 10 minutes. Once you've been writing for 10 minutes, you should be in the writing mode once again, and you won't really want to stop. And if you really aren't feeling it by the 10-minute mark, then I guess you can take a break, but really try to power through it and see if you can say just another 10 minutes. Give yourself a reward. Every time you hit a daily word count, be sure to give yourself a little pat on the back or some little reward system. Do this every day. When I hit the word count for the day, I reward myself by reading my favorite book or whatever I'm currently reading that day. I don't allow myself to do anything fun until I've hit my word count goal for that day. My last tip is to always have a notebook. This is basically for whenever you aren't writing. Carry a notebook around with you everywhere because you aren't sure when inspiration is gonna strike. A lot of times when I'm at work, all of a sudden, whatever I'd been struggling with, the idea comes to my head and I need to write it down so I don't feel like I'm gonna forget it later. So make sure the notebook you have is small enough to carry with you everywhere. That is it for today's video. Let me know if any of these tips have helped you guys, and if I missed any tips, please let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.